The Persian Empire, vast, wealthy, and seemingly invincible, dominated the ancient world. For centuries, no one dared to challenge its might. Then a young king from rugged Macedon rose Alexander. Barely 20, he dreamed of conquering the impossible. Many called him reckless, but Alexander was no ordinary ruler. He was a warrior with a vision. Against deserts, mountains, and legions, he led a small, determined army. The stakes: total destruction or eternal glory. Alexander's campaign would astound the world. He had a secret weapon, one his enemies didn't understand until it was too late. This weapon would change history forever. Alexander's story is one of courage, genius, and innovation. Let's discover how it all began. Who was Alexander? A name that echoes through the corridors of history, a figure of legend and unparalleled ambition. Born in 356 BC in the ancient kingdom of Macedon, a land steeped in tradition and martial prowess, he was the son of King Philip II, a shrewd and formidable ruler who transformed Macedon into a dominant force in the Greek world. From his earliest days, Alexander grew up surrounded by the sights and sounds of war, immersed in the intricacies of strategy and military planning. His father, King Philip II, had revolutionized the Macedonian army, transforming it into a military powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with. But Alexander's education extended beyond the battlefield. His tutor was none other than Aristotle, the renowned philosopher. Aristotle imparted to him a vast knowledge of science, philosophy, ethics, and politics, shaping his intellectual development. He also instilled in young Alexander a deep appreciation and love for Greek culture, its art, literature, and ideals. Beyond his intellectual pursuits, Alexander was a natural warrior possessing innate qualities of leadership and courage. He was physically strong, a testament to his rigorous training and dedication. He was also utterly fearless, never hesitating to lead from the front in the face of danger. And he was exceptionally skilled in battle, a master of tactics and strategy, capable of inspiring his troops to victory against overwhelming odds. At the young age of 20, after his father's assassination, a dark and treacherous event that shook the kingdom, he ascended to the throne, becoming the king of Macedon. Many within and outside Macedon expected the kingdom to fall apart, succumbing to internal strife and external pressures. But Alexander swiftly and decisively crushed all opposition, silencing his rivals and consolidating his power. He secured his kingdom, ensuring its stability and laying the foundation for future expansion. With Macedon secure, Alexander turned his gaze east, towards the vast and wealthy Persian Empire. His motivation was multifaceted, driven in part to fulfill his father's long-held dream of conquering Persia. To invade Persia, a land of immense riches and ancient power. He also sought revenge for the past Persian invasions of Greece, a historical grievance that fueled his ambition. He craved glory, the eternal fame and recognition that came with military conquest, and he harbored a desire to spread Greek civilization and culture throughout the known world, driven by a sense of destiny, a belief that he was destined for greatness. His soldiers, inspired by his charisma and leadership, believed wholeheartedly in him and his vision. They saw his ambition, his unwavering determination to achieve the impossible, and they were ready to follow him anywhere, to the ends of the earth if necessary. Alexander was more than just a king to his men. He was their comrade, fighting alongside them in the thick of battle. His leadership inspired unwavering loyalty, forging a bond of brotherhood between him and his troops. The world was on the cusp of witnessing his audacity, his unparalleled military genius. The stage was set for a monumental clash, a collision of civilizations, as Alexander prepared to confront the mighty Persian Empire. The Persian Empire, a realm of immense power and influence, stood as a beacon of civilization in its time. It was the superpower of its day, a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. Its vast territories stretched from the fertile lands of Egypt all the way to the diverse landscapes of India. It ruled over countless peoples, each with their own unique cultures and traditions, all unified under the Persian banner. The empire controlled vital trade routes, arteries of commerce that connected east and west, bringing wealth and prosperity. Its wealth and military might were legendary, spoken of in hushed tones by rivals and allies alike. It commanded armies of hundreds of thousands, a seemingly endless tide of soldiers ready to defend its borders. It also possessed a powerful navy, ruling the seas and ensuring its dominance over maritime trade. The Persian Empire held a reputation for invincibility, a belief that had solidified over decades of conquest and control. For 2 centuries, this empire stood tall. It dominated the ancient world, shaping its politics, culture, and economy. Many Greek city-states had fought Persia, often valiantly, but the empire always endured, weathering every storm and quashing every rebellion. Its sheer scale intimidated all challengers, casting a long shadow over the ambitions of rival kingdoms. Conquering it seemed unimaginable, a task so daunting that few even dared to contemplate it. Yet Alexander, a young king from the fringes of the known world, with a much smaller kingdom and limited resources compared to the vast Persian Empire, saw opportunity where others saw only insurmountable obstacles. His army was outnumbered, a fraction of the forces the Persian king could muster. But he believed in his men and his tactics, confident in their training and his leadership. Where others saw an unbeatable foe, a force of nature that could not be stopped, Alexander saw greatness within reach, a chance to etch his name into the annals of history. He was undaunted by the odds, driven by an ambition that burned brighter than any fear. The world watched with bated breath, as he prepared to challenge the Colossus, to test the limits of human potential. The Persian Empire's reputation, built on centuries of power and prestige, would soon be put to the ultimate test. Alexander's boldness, his unwavering belief in himself and his army, would redefine what was possible in the ancient world. The stage was set, the players were in place, for a legendary confrontation that would determine the fate of empires. In 334 BC, Alexander, driven by ambition and a thirst for glory, led his meticulously trained army. This marked the beginning of a daring campaign, one that would etch his name into the annals of history. They embarked across the Hellespont, a strategic waterway, venturing boldly into Asia, enemy territory, a land ripe for conquest but fraught with peril. With just 35,000 infantry, disciplined and battle-hardened, forming the backbone of his forces, and 5,000 cavalry, swift and decisive, ready to exploit any weakness in the enemy lines, he faced Persian forces many times larger, a seemingly insurmountable challenge that would test his tactical genius and the courage of his men. It was a gamble, a high-stakes venture with no turning back, a commitment to victory or utter defeat. His early campaigns in Asia Minor were swift and victorious, showcasing his strategic brilliance and the effectiveness of his military machine. He liberated Greek cities, freeing them from Persian rule and bolstering his support among the local populations, and won key battles, like the Granicus, demonstrating his tactical prowess and securing vital early victories. Alexander's personal bravery, often leading charges himself, inspired fierce loyalty and unwavering commitment from his troops. But the Persians, a vast and powerful empire, regrouped, their resolve hardened by the initial setbacks, determined to crush him and repel the invaders from their ancestral lands. He faced harsh terrain, treacherous mountains and arid deserts, long supply lines that stretched back to his homeland, and fortified cities like Tyre, formidable strongholds that resisted his advances with unwavering tenacity. Yet his determination never wavered, fueled by an unshakable belief in his destiny and the righteousness of his cause. Darius III, the Persian king, the ruler of a vast and ancient empire, assembled a massive army, drawing upon the resources of his entire kingdom for a decisive showdown that would determine the fate of his empire. The two forces, representing two vastly different worlds, would meet at Gaugamela, a place that would soon become synonymous with epic conflict. The fate of Alexander's campaign, and indeed the course of history and the world as it was known, hung precariously in the balance. Could his small but highly skilled army prevail against overwhelming odds, against the might of the Persian Empire? Alexander's secret weapon wasn't magic, it was the sarissa. This long pike, up to 20 feet, revolutionized warfare. Introduced by his father, Philip II, the sarissa formed the backbone of the Macedonian phalanx. Soldiers trained relentlessly to wield these massive spears in tight formation. Facing a wall of sarissas was terrifying. Multiple spear points projected far ahead, creating a deadly barrier. Enemy infantry and cavalry struggled to break through. The sarissa gave Macedon a crucial edge. Traditional Greek and Persian weapons were shorter, putting them at a disadvantage. The Macedonian phalanx could strike first and hold the line. This simple innovation changed the battlefield. The sarissa was the key to Alexander's military success. It was the edge he needed to challenge an empire. The Battle of Gaugamela was the ultimate test. Darius chose a wide plain, perfect for his massive army, some 250,000 strong. Alexander had just 47,000 men. Outnumbered, he relied on tactics and the Sarissa phalanx. The phalanx held the center, their long pikes forming an impenetrable wall. Persian attacks faltered against this steel barrier. Meanwhile, Alexander led his elite cavalry in a daring maneuver, drawing out the Persian cavalry and creating a gap. He charged straight for Darius. The phalanx advanced, pushing back Persian infantry. When Darius saw Alexander charging, he panicked and fled. The Persian army collapsed. Alexander's victory was complete. The Sarissa had proven its worth. The world had changed in a single day. Gaugamela shattered the Persian Empire. Darius was assassinated. Alexander captured Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis. The Achaemenid Empire was gone. Alexander was master of Asia. He marched as far as India, but his weary army longed for home. Alexander died young at 32, leaving no clear successor. His empire fractured, but his impact endured. Greek language and culture spread across the East. The Hellenistic age was born. Cities like Alexandria became centers of learning and trade. The Sarissa had made this conquest possible.